Hey guys, welcome to Aeroland! We arrived at episode 7 and it's about time we are going to build the first ride. I've chosen to build a carousel because this is a relatively small ride and it's also one of the best known rides in theme parks in general. I mean, if you've ever been to a theme park which doesn't have a carousel. I wanted the parents to be able to watch their kids on the ride, so I wanted to build the exit path alongside of the carousel. This is a small building where you enter the queue line, and after passing through the building there will be a small garden before entering the next building, which will have another tower. Because I did not make a clock tower out of the tower at the entrance, I wanted this tower to be like the village's clock tower, because every village has a church, basically, at least in Europe, because in medieval times the church was like the first thing built and the village was built around the church. So mostly in cities you have this old church in the center of the town and everything is built around it. So I wanted to have at least one clock tower inside of the plaza. That's why I used this tower to realize that. And the queue line will go behind the church, and behind the church there's this little barn, and the barn is like in the garden of the church, and there will be a nice tree and stuff behind it. So as you can see, I wanted to make the parents be able to watch their kids go on the ride. So at the exit of the building there had to be a pathway going in front of the ride. And I decided to make an exit building as well, because if you're only using the path as an exit, people won't walk along the pathway themselves. So I decided to build like a toilet over here, and that's a good idea because it's out of sight. No one will even notice there's a toilet over here, but guests will walk towards the toilet over the pathway in front of the carousel, which just makes it feel a little bit more real, with people actually walking in front of the carousel to watch the people on the ride, so to speak. And this is the general layout you can see over here, and I did not want the clock tower to be too high, just high enough. And the building I'm building now is one of my favorite buildings I did. I don't know, it looks very dynamic, it looks very different than the others, and it's a combination of the tower being there and a queue line going through it, and I don't know, it's just it ended up looking pretty nice in my opinion. The roofs are really variating. It looks pretty good. So because at first there was no use for the back of this building, but now the queue line is going in front of it, so I had to do something with that big empty wall. So I was just like, let's overgrow it with wall climbing, with wall climbers. And I duplicated this little house from the entrance, I think you guys remember it, and I placed it in the corner like a small outhouse of the church next to the barn. Here I am just adding a few more details to the house and adding a few bushes, because this will basically be the edge of the park. So I was just adding bushes and decided to add a whole bunch of trees behind this because it will be the end of the park anyway. So I don't want to see past what's here, you know. I decided to make a small pond in the back of the queue line. It's like a small pond of the garden, so to speak. I wanted to have a few bushes and stones along the side and one big tree overhanging the pond, you know. Currently I'm finishing up the general shapes of the building. One thing I want to try is to make sure I won't place all the roofs at the same height, and that's why some buildings I sunk down 1 meter, for example, just because the small differences are the differences that won't go noticed, but they will make a big difference on how you look at something. And I forgot I did not place any chimneys anywhere, so I decided to at least place 1 or 2 over here. And from here on is mostly just adding details to the buildings, and I won't go too crazy because I really want this park to end up quite big, and if I use so many objects to add details to buildings early on, because you probably noticed I'm not going that crazy, but crazy enough to look good. But if I really want to make a nice big park, I can't use too many objects so early on in the game, because it will start lagging a lot. Currently, when I start a new park, basically I kept my frame rate at 60 FPS, so it won't go over 60, but currently I'm playing at 45, and that's just of the entrance bit of my park. So I hope it won't drastically go down, because there will be a certain point where it will basically be unplayable anymore, and that's the point where the game stops being any fun, and probably the point where I'll just quit and start a new project. But up until that point, I simply hope that it's a lot better than my alpha park used to be, because that at a certain point I only had like 20 FPS or 15 maybe even in my alpha park, and it's probably because of the alpha build, because recently I copied my save game over to the current build of the game, and I noticed that instead of the 15 I used to get, I was getting like 45 frames per second, which is a lot better, but for the same park. And I hope they kind of made it like the frame rate won't drop that drastically anymore until you're really having a very big park, because I'm really planning to go all out in this thing. Anyway, back on topic. I'm adding some more details to the buildings. I see I wanted to have like a small dirt path in front of this house, and I'm just filling up the garden a little bit with trees and shrubs and stuff. At this point I'm mostly checking the insides of the building, if every wall is in place, and probably adding a few lights afterwards. A nice sign in front of there so you can actually see it's the entrance. Some benches for the parents to sit on while watching the children. A few trash bins so no one throws trash on the floor. And a fence because I'm planning to make some more plants in this corner. Like a small extension of the garden. You have to have some foliage around it instead of only buildings everywhere. So that's one of the reasons I plan to use this corner to fill with trees and some shrubs. And here I'm placing the layout of my next building, and that's the building I'm going to be working on in the next episode. So yeah, I think this is it. I will switch over to the live commentary part and see you guys in a bit. Hey guys, welcome to the live commentary part of this video. In this episode we finished building our first carousel and I'm quite happy with the results. Let's take a look at the entrance first. So this is the entrance of the queue line. The nice sign of the Venetian Carousel along the entrance. And the exit is over here with the pathway going in front of the carousel and some nice benches and stuff. Let's take a look inside. So the queue line goes through this tunnel first and then you will come at this garden-like point. Let's zoom out a little bit. And that's pretty simple, just some bushes and some trees. You will go through the next building and you will end up behind this tower, which will have this giant wall with wall climbing plants, and over here you have this small hut which looks like it's floating. A barn in the middle. We have this garden lighting with a wooden cart and stuff. Over here the small pond I made, and I'm really happy how this pond turned out. It looks pretty good. It's not too much with the greenery and stuff. The only downside is that the background is still very empty, but that's something I will probably work on in the next episode. Over here you have the backs of the houses, and the queue line finishes up by going inside this building and make a zigzag, ziggity-zag, and then you'll arrive at the carousel. That's about it. I'm really happy with the results. It still needs a few touch-ups, which I will probably go over in the next episode, but I'm really happy with the results so far. Let's have a quick look in nighttime. I have not placed any lanterns yet. That's something I will probably add in the next episode as well. So it's still very dark. This is not a pleasant way to wait for your ride in complete darkness with your small children waiting for the carousel. So yeah, that's something I will go over in the next episode. Anyways guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please press the like button, subscribe for more content in the future. If you have any suggestions, you can leave a comment below. And I hope to see you in the next episode. Peace out.